I'm Eddie Brophy, and this is our third edition of Play by Play. This is our only. Is this our second? Third?
Sixth.
This is our sixth edition of Play by Play with Eddie and Jay. I can't count. Jason today has brought us a clip. He hasn't said anything about the clip, so would you like to introduce it? Or?
Well, we briefly talked about Brock Lesnar, Triple H, some kind of MMA match. I want to travel back to 1999, special edition of Sunday Night Heat. You have Steve Blackman. You have Owen Hart, Lions Den match.
Oh, let's roll the clip.
Without further ado, let's hop on to ringside. And Dan Severn is on the, what do you call it?
I completely forgot about that guy.
Ramp, yeah. I'm not even going to get into the match. I have a better story about Dan Severn. Colt Cabana, when he was kind of feeling that he was going to get fired and everything like that, he said he would come out in the black shorts, the gray shirt, and a towel and wrestle as Dan Severn in front of was it OVW or...
Honestly, I would have loved to have seen that. A wrestler who just said F it and just came out as like his favorite wrestler or just like some sort of like inside joke with wrestlers.
So, I always thought this was so cool. Like, it's very small, but...
Well, it's fascinating to see a Lions Den match without Ken Shamrock.
That's why I picked it. I was like, everybody goes
one.
to those ones immediately. So you get the legend Owen Hart.
Man, he was such a colossal prick when he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
Such a colossal
play it
prick.
Up, but...
It's so hard to hear those stories about how he was like the most notorious ribber, and then it's like you got to go back and think of him as a character and just how much of a dick he was. He was such a great wrestler, though. Like, it's one of those things where it's not retrospect where you go back, and I remember being a kid and just marveling at the whole Hart family, really. I mean, There was nothing that those guys couldn't do. I mean, again, I'm sure you've seen Wrestling with Shadows. Brett put it perfectly. Owen was a great technician, aerial guy. You know, Brett, great technician. Bulldog was a great brawler, big guy. And Jim Neidhart was a great character. Like, just all of them together as the Hart Foundation really worked. But it was really nice, despite the circumstances, to see Owen Hart get to strike out on his own like we're seeing here.
Yeah.
And I without a doubt, it had the incident in Kansas City. I think you would have seen your future WWF champion.
In some capacity, yeah. I mean, without a question, if it was around then, the World Heavyweight Champion.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
If Owen, and it's kind of funny to... try to entertain the idea of like where would Owen Hart be in this specific era of wrestling? Like, would he even be with the company?
At the point of retirement now, but to conceive that he wasn't around in 2003, yeah, of course. But
I mean, there's definitely a part of me that genuinely believe that Owen. I mean, I've seen the A&E documentary. Owen wanted out of wrestling, but it was in his blood. That's his family. I mean, I just feel like he could have done great things, and I mean. And we were mentioning this earlier because we were mentioning, and I meant to mention this on the show, and I did, with the re-release of the first 15 WrestleManias, and you had mentioned, like, oh, because Benoit's not in any of those. I never put one and one together and thought, like, oh, man, I never thought about that. They only re-released the ones without Benoit. Yeah. But as soon as, we're watching this, the first thing I'm thinking is, like, Owen Hart and Benoit. Like, matches like that, like your dream matches that you'll never see, but now you're really starting to think about. And I mean, Blackman too. I miss Blackman. Like, he was one of my favorites, and he was another one. Like, I felt like his feud with Shamrock in '99 was phenomenal, but when they teamed him with Al Snow, it kind of killed it for me. Head Cheese kind of lost it for me. I appreciated Blackman more as that guy that came into the room with the kendo stick, smashed the shit out of Kevin Shamrock, and he's, coughing up blood, and then they... Oh, what was the match at Fully Loaded in '99 where they had the cars around them? I forget
what was that? It was like a street...
Yeah, I don't want to call it like a parking lot brawl or anything. Like, it had a name, but...
But it was cool because it was like, it's all the wrestlers and like, they're in just street clothes and it's like their cars and stuff like that. I'm like, that's so badass. Like, that's what a real fight would be.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I don't know where you're pulling out these gems from because it's not even pay-per-view gems. It's Sunday night.
I just try and pick something random that you may have forgotten about, or it's just like, wow, like how is this not talked about more? Like,
well, that's the thing that really bothers me about a lot of these best of DVDs is, like, again, I mentioned on the last show, the In Your House best of DVD. There are so many greater, more obscure matches that I feel like one of these days WWE, they're going to have to cater more to like the specific market the market. And they're going to have to come up with DVDs that it's like, you know, you got your music snobs that it's like they love the deep cuts, they love like particular live versions of songs. That's like wrestling fans. Like, I'm a bigger fan of the more obscure matches that they don't wind up on 100 different best of DVDs.
That's what I hope WWE Network is, if that ever comes to fruition. But like that, you see stuff like this where you're like, wow, I never even conceived.
Well, because they have, consider how much goddamn footage they have. I mean, even the secret warehouse that I've read about, you know, parts unknown, where they kept like seeing the pictures Punk took on his Twitter of like all the caskets, all the sledgehammers.
Kofi did a tour a couple like months ago and posted some cool pictures of that.
I was a little more disappointed with his because I thought that, you know, a Punk just got right into there.
Yeah.
Like, you got it.
Let me show you the good shit.
Yeah. Like, I was amazed how many of those caskets they still have. It's like, what are you doing with these? But if they do a physical Hall of Fame. But they can
auction that stuff off at some point. But
if they do a physical Hall of Fame, I think that would be the perfect place for them.
Hopefully, you know, I get the chance to go to Access this year and see some of the, I imagine they pull some of that stuff from there.
I would think that it's almost like, like a kind of like certain museum stuff like that. They just bring them out and they travel with them, you know, for a specific amount of time. I mean, personally, I don't know exactly because I've never been to an Access event.
That's
so
why
you're going to have to fill me in on that one.
What to expect, But tell me you couldn't see Brock Lesnar and Triple H in this, like...
It would have to be like the modified Hell in a Cell. It would have to be a little bit bigger. But I could completely... I honestly, like, I think these are tremendous wrestlers, but I feel like if it's a pay-per-view and it's Lesnar and it's Triple H, because they're bigger guys, you know, I feel like... not to say that you necessarily need blood in a match, but I feel like there's something a little more violent that they could add to that match. Something that could make the $70 for WrestleMania worth paying if they go through with it. And again, I can't believe that this is a Sunday Night Heat. I mean, matches like this were often saved for pay-per-views.
If you even got that.
That was actually the funny thing, too, because I remember one of the only Lions Den matches that was supposed to happen on Raw was supposed to be with Vince McMahon and Ken Shamrock.
I guess this is awesome Dan Severn's story where he used to come out with the gray T-shirt and everything like that, and he walks down to the ring, gets in the ring, and then takes off the T-shirt. And I guess somebody told the referee like through the headsets and was like, "Go up to Dan, tell him to put the shirt back on." And he had to put the T-shirt back on.
Oh man, that's like when the fat kid gets in the pool and he tries to take off T-shirt, and the mother's just like, "No, honey, just put your shirt back on."
But
poor Dan Severn. That just hurt. That hurts on so many levels. Especially considering when you've had guys like Viscera in there in like the leotards. And Rikishi.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope we get a modified version of something like this at Mania for Triple H and Lesnar.
It would be awesome. Just the epicness of it.
I personally, and again, I'm shocked that not only you found another obscure gem, but you found one with Owen Hart in it. So I'm impressed.
That's what I do. All right, folks. Thank you for watching. I'm Jason Smith.
I'm Eddie Brovey, so you don't have to be.
Thanks for watching.